I'm Dre P. Lotus Harris, and this is week 1 of Brand and Build Institute. And today we're going to talk about vision, mindset, and entrepreneurship identity. A lot of businesses start every day, and we want to make sure that your business is successful. That's the whole reason why we have started this whole institute, is to put you on the path to have the most success and to avoid a lot of the stumbling blocks. So today we're going to talk about what do you need to have in place before you even start your business. And it really comes down to vision, mindset, and entrepreneur identity. So we're going to start off wondering, why do most businesses fail? That's what I want you to think about. Businesses start every day, but only a very small percentage of these businesses become successful. So what is it that separates the entrepreneurs who build successful businesses from the entrepreneurs who build businesses that fail? It's lack of clarity, not lack of talent. And clarity comes in the very beginning, before you even first sell your first product or even open the doors to your business. You have clarity in the beginning stages. You have clarity during the planning stages. The more clear that your vision is for where you want your business to go before your business even starts, the more likely you are to succeed and get to that destination. So today we really want to talk about, what is your vision? What is your mindset? And what is your entrepreneur identity? So you don't build the business, first of all. That's not the first thing you build, is the person that builds the business. So the first thing we're going to focus on is building you as an entrepreneur, establishing your identity, and then we're going to figure out how to bring it all together and build the business that is most likely to succeed for you. Because every business is not for every person. So first of all, you have to know your identity and who you are as a person to even decide the right business you want to start. And it comes with passion. You got to have passion in the beginning stages in order to get through all the hardships that you're definitely going to have to endure with any business. It's going to come with challenges. And if it's not something that you're really committed to, something you're very passionate about, you might not be able to have the wherewithal to get through all of those challenges. So we want to establish a strong identity, a strong vision, and a strong mindset, and the right mindset. So what is the right mindset for an entrepreneur? Entrepreneurs want to have an ownership mindset. And we can break that down to what an ownership mindset is. It's going from an employee mindset to an entrepreneur mindset. And that doesn't start the day your business opens. That starts with you every single day. Do you have an ownership mindset? You don't transform to an ownership mindset because you started an LLC, because you register for an LLC. The ownership mindset starts even before the business starts. The ownership mindset, it starts at the 9 to 5. When you're at work, do you have an employee mindset or do you have an ownership mindset? Are you able to have the mentality when you walk into your job like you own the place, like you're the business owner? You take accountability for your job to the point of you take ownership of your job. You take pride in your job, regardless of what the job is. Whether if you're sweeping the floor, mopping the floor, wiping off tables, do you take ownership in your job? Do you do it to the best of your ability? Because how you do one thing is how you do everything. So that's why it has to be a mindset shift. Because if you go into business with an employee mindset, that's how you're setting yourself up for failure. All right. So long-term vision versus short-term vision. You have to be able to think long-term. You have to be able to see where you want to go, see the destination, and plot out the path to get there. And you have to realize that it takes time. Anything that's great takes time. It's not about instant gratification. Entrepreneurs have to be very good with delayed gratification. That means you do an action now, you do something now, but you don't really see the benefit of that action until down the road. The more you can shift your mindset to delayed gratification versus everything you have to do has to have an instant result, if you're able to realize that you might have to set a 10-year goal versus a 1-year goal, but the goal is to achieve your 10-year goal in 1 year, but let's realize that it could be a 10-year goal. But once you set that 10-year goal, now your mindset is to achieve that 10-year goal. How can I achieve that 10-year goal in 1 year? So we think long term. We think years down the road. We're not thinking that life is short. We're living like life is long. We're living like we're going to be able to pour into this business over the long term. And that's how we have to operate each day. And that's the type of belief that we have to have in the vision. So that's why we have to have the vision first, and then we have take ownership of that vision. And it has to be a long term vision. And then another important aspect is risk tolerance. How much risk tolerance do you have? How much are you able to put at risk before you break? Because I know you've heard a lot of success stories about people who were down to their last dollar and it was hopeless for them. Some people have stories even about being homeless before their business takes off or their big break. Some people have their significant others leave them before their big break. But that's what you put at risk. That's what you put at risk when you decide that you want to be dedicated to your vision. You put at risk the things that are outside of that vision. And are you willing to risk those things? Are you willing to put those things at risk? Are you willing to lose those things on behalf of your vision? You see how important that is? That's why the vision, you have to decide what that is. Is this something that you're willing to really ride for? There's no such thing as a shortcut to success. If you do find a shortcut, it's because somebody took the long road and they provided a shortcut for you. But a lot of times you have to be the trailblazer. So you're going to be the first one out. You're on the front lines. So are you willing to put things at risk to be a leader, to be the one that makes the change, that makes the difference, to be the one? Because there's not a lot. Everyone will not have a successful business because we see most businesses fail. Remember that. So do you have the right mindset to go into this entrepreneurship lifestyle and stick with it through the thick and thin and also be able to risk it all? That's what you have to decide. But that's why it's so important to think all this through before we even have our opening day of business. You see what I mean? So that's where we're at. That's why week one, we're talking about this. All right. Now, identity before strategy. You have to know who you are first. Okay. Identity drives decisions. Who you are determines what you do. Okay. So it's important to establish who you are and what you care about before you even make a decision, because your decisions are going to be based off of your identity, the person you are. So let's figure out who you are first before we even decide what business to start. You get it? Because if you have the wrong mindset, you don't have the right identity, you're most likely not even going to start the right business. So that's where I'm at with it. Let's make sure you're starting the right business for yourself. Let's make sure you know who you are and you know what you're actually passionate about and you know what you're willing to put everything at risk for. And then let's talk about starting your business. Standards determine success. Do you have standards? What are your standards? Do you have standards for yourself? If you have high standards for yourself, you're going to have high standards for your business. You're going to have high standards for the people around you. What do you accept? What do you tolerate? What type of boundaries do you have? What type of standards do you set for yourself and others around you? But it always goes back to identity, right? You have to know who you are and what you're about before you can set standards for anyone else. And those standards have to be high in order for you to be successful. So you have to have high standards for yourself in order to have high standards for the people around you. That's what it really takes to be a leader, but leadership, that's a whole nother topic. So identity before strategy. Make sure you have an identity. Make sure you know who you are before you try to come up with a strategy. And as you can see, a lot of people make that mistake. They go for strategy first before identity. And that's what it is, because that's like going for what's trending or going for what's popular or going for the latest get rich quick scheme. That's going for strategy before identity, because you see that it's a strategy that other people are using, and yeah, that strategy works for other people. But if you don't have an identity, you don't know if that strategy will work for you. You don't know if that strategy will be right for you. You don't know if you'll have the wherewithal to stick with that strategy long enough for it to be successful. So the first thing you want to do is find your identity, and then you find the strategy. All right. So now we're going to talk about vision casting. What is a vision casting framework? We'll break this down. Vision casting framework. That's what I talked about before. That's being able to see long term, being able to see the vision. You have to be able to see your business successful. You have to be able to see the results that you want to get. You have to be able to say the results that you want to get. You have to be able to write down the results that you want to get. So, 3-year vision, 10-year legacy, lifestyle design. 3-year vision, 10-year legacy, lifestyle design. So, how does this fit into a vision casting framework? All right, so your 3-year vision. After you have found your vision for what you want to do, you know you had the right mindset and you've established your identity. Where do you see yourself 3 years from now? You have to do the inner work first, though. You have to do the identity work first to figure out who you are and what you're passionate about, and then thinking about the business you want to start. And based off that, where do you see that business in 3 years? Where do you see yourself as an entrepreneur in 3 years, based off of your mindset, your identity? And wherever you see yourself in 3 years, you need to fine tune that 3 year from now version of you in your business, fine tune it to be perfect, exactly what you want it to be. That's the power of the mind. Envision you yourself and your business 3 years from now. Like, how do you want it to be? Exactly how you want it to be. And keep that in your mind. And then we work our way backwards. We work our way from who we are today to that person that we want to be 3 years from now. Your 10-year legacy. Legacy is what really matters. We live in a world today where everybody is caught up in popularity, clout, fame, but all of that is fleeting. All of that comes and it goes. Legacy is what you leave behind forever. So, what is your 10-year legacy? 10 years from now, what will people be able to say about you and what you represent, or the interactions that you have with people? Basically, who you are as a person. And we say 10-year legacy because there's a difference between marketing and branding. Within your 3-year vision, you can achieve that with marketing. You can achieve that with advertising and promotions. You can achieve your 3-year vision with marketing. But the difference between marketing and branding is a result of long term, sustained marketing. So your brand becomes your legacy. And it could take 10 years to build that type of brand, to build that type of legacy. And that's why long term vision has to be a part of your toolkit, because you have to realize that if you want to build a legacy, if you want your brand to become a legacy, that could take 10 years of sustained marketing. Okay. Lifestyle design. Design your lifestyle. Everything from who's your significant, what type of significant other you will have, or if you already have a significant other, how will you be able to enhance that relationship? The car you want to drive, the house you want to live in, the amount of money that you want to make, how often will you be able to go on vacation? Design the lifestyle that you want for yourself, be able to visualize it. Vision is important because it gives you the motivation you need to keep going. You see what I mean? Like, this is basically when you have a vision, that's when you shift over to ownership mindset. Because when you have a vision, that's basically your paycheck. Because when you work a job, your motivation is to keep working to get that check. But when you shift over to ownership mindset, now your motivation to work is to achieve that vision. So a lot of times the reason why people will settle within a job or will settle just for working for someone else is simply because they lack a vision for themselves. And they're basically allowing someone else to provide a vision for them. But the moment we break free from that mindset into an entrepreneurship mindset, into an ownership mindset, that's when we really become free. And that's really the essence of what entrepreneurship is all about. And that is what we're teaching you here at Brandon Bill Institute.